Please join in singing the national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
This is my County Fairgrounds, and it's working out pretty well, don't you think?
Yep.
Don't we have a great country? Aren't you glad that we're Americans tonight? We have so much to be thankful for, to praise God for. So I'm thankful for each of you that have come out tonight. We're the Voices of Faith. This is Karen Weaver on the end, Deb Oberhaus, Angie Schmersall, my wife Donna, I'm Denny Coates, and this is Steve, what's your last name again, Huffman, and Jim Oberhaus. And we're glad to be here tonight. Running sound, we have Rob Schmersall, assisted by his daughter Rebecca, and we are just glad to be here. The fireworks tonight are courtesy of Huntingford Enterprises, and we appreciate the job Ron and Jacob and family does for us each year, and we just have an amazing time. And we are not wanting this to be a fundraiser for us, but we want to give back. And there's an organization called Tunnel for Towers, and it pays off the mortgages of fallen first responders. So our purpose, so if you would like to contribute to that, there are buckets at the first step, the walkway there on the grandstand, and they have lights on them, and 100% of what is given tonight will go to this organization, Tunnels for Towers, to pay off the mortgages of these folks who have given their lives in the line of duty. And so I hope you can be a part of that. And we're glad to be a little bit of a help and a blessing to those folks as well. Our purpose tonight, we want to do several things. We want to say, first of all, we just celebrate our country. We are truly blessed. And we want to say thank you to our Lord for the country and the freedoms that we have. I don't know how many years we'll be able to do this, but I'm thankful this year we can do it. And so we want to celebrate our country. We want to celebrate the ideas. You know, we don't all agree maybe with our politics, but we can agree on this. We love our liberty. We love our freedom of speech, our freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, and freedom to speak our conscience as God puts things on our hearts. So we want to celebrate that. That's part of it. We want to honor our military, past and present, active duty and veterans, these men and women who put their lives on the line for us and wear the nation's uniform. And we also want to honor our first responders, fire, police, and EMS. And we have a number of those folk with us tonight. Some in uniform and some not, but we appreciate these folks. I don't know about you, but it just grieves my heart to see especially men and women in law enforcement be castigated as the villains with our present problems we have in our culture. So we want to be have the opposite effect and give the opposite voice and say thank you to these men and women in uniform, the thin blue line. Okay? So that's part of what we're doing. And then the third purpose is to say that what we really need in our country isn't fixable in Washington or Columbus. You know, that we need some divine intervention, or I'm afraid our country's not going to last. I believe that with all my heart. So that's the third part. It's not just a celebration of the country, it's God and country. So we hope you enjoy the program tonight, and I think that's it for announcements. So one of the troubling trends today is that there are a lot of folks out there who want to reshape our nation with a new constitution and a new flag. And we would like to say, no, we love this flag, the red, white, and blue. And that's what this song is about.
Proudly it waves out glory over the land of the free. Promise of hope and freedom, symbol of liberty. Red, white, and blue are its colors, colors both patriots who have died to free us. White is for justice and government of law. Blue is for honor and faith in all we do. This is my flag. This is Old Glory, the red, white, and blue. Now I invite you to stand, salute our flag, and together let's recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated.
Proudly it waves, oh glory, over the land of the free. Promise of hope and freedom, symbol of liberty. Red, white, and blue are its colors, colors both brilliant and clear, colors with far deeper meaning than that at first may appear.
Red is for blood of patriots who have died to free us. White is for justice and government of law. Blue is for honor and faith in all we do. This is our flag. This is Old Glory, the red, white, and blue.
Long may it
When you think of America, a lot of things come to mind, but the first thing that comes to my mind is liberty. What a wonderful thing it is. July 4th is all about Independence Day, a celebration of our freedom from England and our independence as a nation. And we celebrate that liberty, and if we stand for one thing, the ideals of America is the freedom that we have. You can speak your mind, you can get in your car, and you can drive across the country, not being stopped one time for someone to see your papers unless you're over the limit, right? Yeah, we are blessed with this tremendous amount of liberty. You can write a letter to the editor. You can speak your piece. You can go to the church of your choice. Some places, even being seen in public with a Bible will land you in jail. But we have such freedoms in America. It's a wonderful sound. It's a wonderful idea. This idea, what a mighty sound. Freedom.
Can you hear it? There's something in the air. It sounds a lot like music. It's rising everywhere.
As one by one the nations begin to sing along, their cries for liberation become a victory song. What a mighty sound, the song of the free. When those who are bound declare liberty. What a joyful noise through history resounds. When hope demands a choice, when freedom finds a voice, what a mighty sound. We who know the chorus must sing it from our hearts, like those who came before us and made us who we are, till all the world can hear it and dares to take a stand for those who need it most. Let us sing it once again. What a mighty sound, the song of the free. When those who are bound declare liberty. What a joyful noise through history resounds. When hope demands a choice, when freedom finds a voice, what a mighty sound. Like thunder in the distance before a driving rain, a symphony of courage is stirring winds of change. What a mighty sound, the song of the free. When those who are bound declare liberty. What a joyful noise through history resounds. When hope demands a choice, when freedom finds a voice, what a mighty sound. When hope demands a choice, when freedom finds a voice, what a mighty sound. What a mighty sound.
How we appreciate those who serve in our armed forces and And this next medley is for you. This features the themes, the anthems of the different branches of the military. So what we'd like for you to do, if you serve, when your anthem is sounded, when we begin to sing, if you would stand while we sing that, and you can be seated again. So we have the Army, we have the Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and Marines. So stand up and let us know how you serve. Let us show our appreciation for you as we sing Armed Forces Medley.
So here's the Coast Guard marching song. We sing on land or sea, through surf and storm and howling gale, high shall our purpose be. Semper Paratus is our guide, our fame, our glory too, to fight, to save, or fight and die. I, Coast Guard, we are for you. Over hill, over dale, we will hit the dusty trail, and those caissons go rolling along. In and out, hear them shout, counter marching right about. And those caissons go rolling along. For it's high, high in the field artillery. Count out your numbers loud and strong. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And wherever you go, you always know. And those caissons go rolling along. Anchors away, my boys. Anchors away. Farewell to college joys. We sail at break of day, 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 day. Through one last night ashore, where'er you roam, until we meet once more. Here's wishing you a happy voyage home. Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sky. Hear the call, starting to meet our thunder. And the boys, give her the gun. Down we dive, spouting our flame from under. On with one terrible roar. We live in fame, over now in fame, for nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First we fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim our title of United States Marines. Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, Marines.
I see some folks with sparklers over in this end of the grandstand. I was thinking about that. We just sang about going down in flames for the Air Force song. We don't want that to happen at the grandstand. So please, no more sparklers over here, guys. The grandstands are wooden, and we don't want to take a chance here. Okay, well, perhaps you have wondered, as I have, what can we do? We know, anybody with any sense knows, that the answer for our country is not fewer policemen and women. Not that they are perfect and never mess up, but the wrong actions of a few should not reflect on the whole force. And my thinking is, what can we do to show these guys that we are for them, we're praying for them, and we appreciate. You know, we couldn't have what we have if it weren't for the men and women in blue or gray or brown or whatever colors, black, I believe the sheriff's deputies wear. But thank God for them and their willingness to put themselves in harm's way. Denny, I've got a mic for you up here. You'll have to walk through. This is Denny Burns. Denny's a old friend of mine. Chief Deputy for Hardin County. Got a mic right up there.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. Pastor Coates extended the invitation and I was glad to be able to accept it and be here. Again, I'm from Hardin County. That's the foreign country just south of you a ways here in Kenton. And I appreciate my sheriff, Sheriff Everhart, encouraging me to take opportunities like this. Because of the nature of what I was asked to do, I do want to, first of all, just say a word of appreciation, particularly to all first responders, firefighters, EMTs, anyone who operates in that whole realm. My remarks will not be directed specifically to you all, but I want to make certain that you are not forgotten in this event tonight. I've been given a few minutes, so I will try to be good to that and move quickly on to where we want to be. When we think about law enforcement, I've been involved in law enforcement 40 years. I know I look a lot younger, but the truth is, people ask me what these stars are for, what that represents, and I just tell them it means I'm old. 5 years for every star. Throughout my experience in law enforcement, folks have been good to me personally. In Hardin County, our Hardin County residents are exceptionally supportive of us, and I trust that's true here in Putnam County with your law enforcement as well. I want to just ask you to listen for a moment. I think that it's important that we understand some fundamentals with respect to this being a God and country night. It's important, I think, for you to hear what God thinks in terms of law enforcement. I take this from Romans 13 that tells us that every soul should be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God. And the authorities that exist are appointed by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authority resists the ordinance of God, and those who resist will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Do you want to be unafraid of the authority? Then do what is good, and you will have praise from the same. For he is God's minister to you for good. But if you do evil, be afraid. For he does not bear the sword in vain, for he is God's minister. Therefore be subject, not only because of wrath, but also for conscience sake. For because of this you also pay taxes. For they are God's ministers attending continually to this very thing. Render therefore to all their due. Taxes to whom taxes, customs to whom customs, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor. You see, the reality is that human government, which I believe includes, at least in this context, includes law enforcement. It's an institution that God has ordained. Those who serve in our communities do God's work, serving Him by serving others. They are not a terror to good works. They're not a terror to people who desire to do good. If you are doing good or right, you have no reason to fear. If you're doing wrong, you may rightly expect the penalties of law. And the passage then in Romans 13 goes a little further, and it says that we should financially support and respect and honor those that God has placed in our communities to be His ministers or His servants for good. I like to remind our folks occasionally in our agency that they in fact are ministers, and they all look at me rather strangely because that's the last thing they think they are. But in reality, we need to understand that our God-given role is that of servants, to serve Him and to serve others in the communities where He's placed us. So what can you do in this day and hour to encourage and foster healthy relationships with God's ministers to you for good? Well, to answer that question, I've pulled together some thoughts that I've read from others, some that I've received from our staff, and some others of my own. Let me just say to you quickly that as long